Today I wanted to break down a post I found on each MBTI type and their greatest strength and weakness. I want to look at how they correlate to the cognitive functions. This week I'll be looking at extroverts, and I'll leave the introverts for next week. I will start with the sensors. ESFJs are friendly and charismatic. Their dominant FE will definitely help them to be friendly towards others, and having FE alongside a well-balanced SI and NE will help them to appeal to others, as they can appreciate the tradition but also come up with new and better ideas where needed. This can help them to be more respected, as they can appeal to both sides easily. Their weakness is that they can care too much about other people's opinions. I can see that again happening through their dominant FE. FE is great because it helps you to connect to other people easily, but it can also be a thorn in the side too, as it does put a lot of emphasis on what other people think. Also, having an extroverted judging function first and the introverted judging function last means that they will trust what other people think more than they trust their own opinions on lots of different things. This will often be the case until they can work on their introverted judging function and trust it more, which for ESFJs is their TI. To do this, they will have to start by making small decisions themselves, even simple ones like which new type of coffee should I buy from the shop. And when they get more comfortable with small decisions, and they are able to do this without any input from other people, they will learn to trust themselves more and be able to make larger decisions without checking in either. This is true for every type that has a dominant extroverted judging function first, so the ESFJs, ESTJs, ENFJs and ENTJs. But it will come across differently, as those with inferior TI will not trust their own logic as much as they trust other people's values and opinions, and those with inferior FI will not trust their own values and opinions as much as others or outside logic. ESTJs are persuasive and smart, which will come from their dominant TE being very logic-focused, and the balance between the secondary SI and tertiary NE, which can help them to be persuasive and understand the value of new ideas as well as tradition, much like the ESFJ can. Their TE is driven by efficiency, so they will always be on the lookout for better ways of doing things, hence they will come across as smart. And when they come across a better way, they are able to exercise their tactics of persuasion to make it happen. However, they can come across as close-minded at times. This is likely due to their NE being third, so they will have more of a preference for the tried and trusted methods rather than a new, abstract way of doing things. Their desire for efficiency will lead them to research and find out how other people are doing things, or how things used to be done in the past, which can restrict them from looking forward to something new that could make things better as well. Working on getting more comfortable trying new things and testing out new ideas will help them to be more open-minded about newness, so they can weigh out the pros and cons instead of just dismissing the idea because it doesn't have any proof that it works. ESFPs are charming and spontaneous. They use their dominant SE and secondary FI to liven up the room. Their SE likes spontaneity and newness, and being coupled with FI means they can use their desire for authenticity to come across as charming and pleasant to be around. However, ESFPs can come across as too dependent on other people around them for their happiness, as their SE needs others to join in the fun to make it more exciting. Without a well-developed FI, they can become too reliant on other people for their own happiness, needing affirmation and attention to feel good about themselves. But when they work on their FI more, they can find out what they value, what makes them happy, and in time, learn to enjoy their own company a bit more with the help of their inferior NI. This will take time through sitting and reflecting, away from everyone else, to discover things they never knew about themselves, and it will take time for the quiet to become just as comfortable as crowds of people do. ESTPs are honest and direct. Their balance of dominant SE and secondary TI means they enjoy living in the moment and definitely won't beat around the bush if something needs to be said. Why wait until tomorrow when there is an issue they can see right now that needs fixing? This is a brilliant quality to have, as you know you will always hear the truth from them, but because they aren't always as worried about future consequences, it means they can say things that can end up hurting people, often without realizing. They identify the problem with their SE, and they use their TI's desire for truth to say it, but without also pulling on their tertiary FE and thinking how it might affect the other person. They can be a bit brash. SE is the quickest processor out of all the processing functions, which are SE, SI, NE, and NI. so it takes the least amount of time thinking about consequences before it makes the decision. By slowing down and intentionally thinking about how something you say or do may impact other people, you can reduce the chance of hurting them. Pull on your FE and think about other people's feelings, and use your inferior NI a bit to see the potential future ramifications of the decision you want to make, so you can be fully aware of what impact it may have. Now on to the intuitives. ENFJs are warm-hearted due to the dominant FE. They are very aware of other people's needs and use their secondary NI to figure out how best to help them. They are great people to know. They are exceptionally caring and kind, genuinely interested in how you are doing. They will value helping other people and making sure their needs are met. But their gift of identifying others' needs can also lead them to feel hugely self-conscious. Because they are so aware of other people, they often assume that others must be extremely aware of them and their flaws, even though this is not often the case. As with ESFJs, their dominant FE can cause them issues about worrying what other people think and placing a big emphasis on other people's opinions. They will need to find a balance between being others-focused and always looking for people to help, but not seeking their worth from that. They need to become more comfortable in their own skin and accept that they are not perfect, and nobody expects them to be either. ENTJs are hardworking and natural leaders. I can attest to this personally because my partner is an ENTJ. They are very focused and enjoy providing for those they care about. This leads them to be very hardworking. Having dominant TE means they will easily be able to find the most effective course of action. And ENTJs are usually great at taking charge and showing others how to follow through on the effective course of action, which makes them natural leaders. They don't just stand there and tell you how to do your job. They will get their hands dirty and work twice as hard as everyone else, which means they feel they have the right to ask you to work harder, because you can clearly see they are doing it too. However, this can come across as arrogant to others, mainly feeling types who don't know the ENTJ well. This is because TE can be very to the point, stating things as facts without showing why and how they came to the conclusion, as the processing was done internally with their NI, and it can often be difficult to explain how NI actually comes to certain conclusions. So others can just see the ENTJ randomly coming up with ways to change and make things better, and can feel like the ENTJ must think they know everything and are better than everybody else. It's only when you understand how they work, or actually ask them, that you can find out why they wanted to change that area, and how their idea will make things better. So ENTJs, by taking into account that other people don't often see how you come to the conclusions, they just see the order to change something, you can help by explaining why you thought the change was needed, and how it will make it better for the team, thus getting them to come alongside and work with you to achieve this. ENFPs are enterprising and original. Their dominant NE is brilliant at coming up with new ways of doing things. They are always able to brainstorm lots of different ideas for a topic, even playing devil's advocate and looking at how different ideas may not work, to come up with the best course of action. Their secondary FI means they value authenticity and love to be original. They have their own quirkiness that makes them different from the crowd. They can see everyone as unique, and they value their own uniqueness too. However, ENFPs can get easily bored or feel lonely at times. Because their NE likes new things, they can find the daily monotony of life to be boring and unexciting. And this desire for authenticity can make them feel lonely when they can't find anyone else to share that with, or someone else who is also authentic. They value connections with others, so only having small talk with people can still leave them feeling lonely. Sadly, not everyone is as interested in being authentic like the ENFPs are, so they may have to settle for only having a few people in their life that they can really connect to on a deep level, and stick with just small talk for the rest. If you haven't found many people to connect with, then try looking online for other ENFPs or even other intuitives that will enjoy discussing deep ideas with you. Lots of people are learning about MBTI, so it is a lot easier now to find like-minded people online. You can maybe try to find all the different intuitive types, so you can have conversations and learn lots of different ways that they think. And then as well the sensors, so you can see their different perspectives and how they view the world differently to you. ENTPs are witty and inventive, which will come from a mix of their dominant NE coming up with new ideas and the secondary TI, which often likes to be sarcastic. The two together can make them very innovative, able to figure out a problem with something and come up with a solution that works a lot better. They aren't afraid of trying new things and taking risks, and they trust their own logic to believe they've made the right decision. However, if unchecked, they may come across as a bit self-centered because their TI is so strong and can lead them to think that they always make the best decisions and that they do know best. I think this may only come across to someone who was only listening to their logic and didn't know the ENTP well, or the ENTP hadn't developed their FE very well. TI by itself can be a bit brash in the way it decides things because it is a personal truth, so the person doesn't always feel that they need to explain their decision to anyone. But ENTPs also have FE third, so working on FE and valuing other people's opinions and feelings can help to balance TI and FE more and help you to get your point across in a logical yet kind way, so others understand your point of view and see your reasoning as well. The points I mentioned for each type are not exclusively for them. I'm sure you can find something to take out of a lot of the personality types, even if I haven't specifically mentioned your type. We all have a mixture of 8 functions, and they will act similarly in each personality type. So if the things I mentioned don't necessarily apply to you, then maybe something I've mentioned for another type will. I hope you found this interesting. I like learning about all the different types. Even though I don't know someone from each type, I think it's important to know, because we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we are all incredibly important and unique at the same time. Thank you for your time.